Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Gurok here, your casual gamer dad, coming at you guys with another Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker PvP job review video. So, as I mentioned before, our PvE series has come to a soft end, so to speak, but the PvP series is still going strong because there are plenty of jobs that I leveled to 90 before starting the PvP series that I do still need to review, especially since the 6.1 revamp. And of those is the job we're doing today, obviously, everybody's favorite edgy boy, the DarkKnight. So DarkKnight is still technically considered a tank, even in PvP. Much like the Warrior, they are not so much a blue DPS, but it's more of just a less damage dealer that has way more HP. That's pretty much it. Pretty much the same thing that's going to be shared across the board for all four tanks is, of course, naturally, your job is to get in there, get the attention of everybody, and peel so that everybody else can kill. And I mean, if you can pick up some kills along the way with your burst, cool. If not, is what it is. You still did your job. Now the DarkKnight can be played very aggressively. It is relatively fast paced, and you do a lot of weaving with the DarkKnight in PvP. In front lines, they're pretty effective. They do a good job of peeling and taking the heat with the combination of TBN and just their outstanding limit break. They can be pretty effective in team fights. In Crystalline Conflict, I had almost as much success, if not more, as much fun and just as much success with the DarkKnight as I did with Warrior. Now, DarkKnight does not have the CC that Warrior has, but they have similar amounts of burst potential. And even though Warrior has a ton of CC with like the stuns with Blota and gap closers with Onslaught, DarkKnight brings just constant burst damage and pressure and just literally being unkillable for like 10 seconds during their limit break window. So my overall review of DarkKnight, unlike I think I gave them an 8.8 out of 10 in PvE due to lack of defensives, in PvP they're definitely a solid 9 out of 10. Solid 9 out of 10. I can't really think of any initial complaints other than, I'm going to be honest here and very biased, they're not Warrior, so it just feels so much smoother on Warrior to me than it does on DarkKnight. But DarkKnight is really up there. They are very effective in Crystalline Conflict. They're very effective in front lines. As long as you play them right, as long as you remember you're a tank, your job is to get in there and take the attention and take the heat and just try not to die. Pretty much it. And just do as much damage as you can in between. So let's run down their skills like I always do. Open up my UI here and open up the PvP profile. So here's their kit. Just right out the gate, I'm just going to get them out of the way. Obviously, you have your run-of-the-mill standard PvP. You have your sprint toggle, your purify, which is your stun breaker, guard, which is insane amounts of damage reduction for like a short amount of time, recuperate, which is your cast heal, costs 2.5k mana, and then standard issue elixir, which is a full heal, full mana restore, but it has like a super long cast time. Okay, with that crap out of the way, let's get into the nitty gritty. So obviously we have our 1-2-3 combo, hard slash, 3k potency, siphon strike, 4k potency, doesn't do anything else unlike in PvE, and soul eater, 5k potency with 100% of damage dealt turned into HP. So I mean, much like with Storm's Path, it's kind of just there. The heal from it isn't going to keep your ass alive. It's just kind of, it's there. It's nice to have. So yeah. That's so I'm not going to go in order here, but I am going to open up with TBN, the Blackest Night. So the Blackest Night operates very similar to the way it does in PvE, other than that the fact that it does not cost mana in PvP, and it just has a 15-second cooldown, creates barrier around self or target party member that absorbs damage equivalent to a heal of 8k potency. So you can absorb about 8,000 damage with this thing. You can put it on yourself, you can put it on somebody else. I don't know why you would ever put it on somebody else in PvP, but it is what it is. It lasts for 10 seconds, and if the amount of damage that you can absorb. So if you absorb 8k damage, you'll break TBN, and then you'll get 10 seconds of Dark Arts. Dark Arts in PvP allows you to consume just Dark Arts as opposed to HP when you execute Shadowbringer, and I'll get into how that works in just a second here. We have Plunge, 15-second cooldown, instacast. It's only one charge. There's not multiple charges on it, but I mean the short recast time means it's like almost always up. And just rushes target, delivers attack with a potency of 2k. It afflicts the target with Soul Survivor, reduces the target's HP recovered by healing actions by 20% for 15 seconds. If the target should be KO'd before Soul Survivor expires, your HP and MP will be restored by 20%, and the recast timer of Plunge will be reset. So it is a gap closer. It's good for chasing people down. It's also good for engaging. But that Soul Survivor debuff, it reduces the amount of healing from healing actions, which is that's actually really strong. It's really good. It lasts for 15 seconds, and if you manage to knock the motherfucker out, or not even you don't even have to kill the guy. It could be anyone else on your team. Could just knock the motherfucker out. Boom, you get 20% of your HP and MP back, and you basically get your Plunge back off cooldown. So if within that 15-second window it just comes up, boom. So you just plunge. I highly recommend using this to open up and engage in any fight, and definitely chase people down with this. That Soul Survivor debuff is strong. It is strong. We have Salted Earth. It's pretty much the same thing that it does in PvE. It's just a slap it on the ground. It does damage over time, but it has a couple other effects in PvP. This is basically the Dark Knight's form of CC, and really the only one they've got. So instacast, 30-second cooldown, instantly draws nearby enemies to your side with a 10-yard radius, and creates a patch of salted earth at your feet, dealing unexpected damage over time to any enemies inside with a potency of 2k. For 10 seconds. Additional effect gradually restores your HP and reduces damage taken by 20% while standing inside of the patch of Salted Earth with a cure potency of 2k. Upon executing this, it turns into Salted Darkness, which has a 10-second recast, and all enemies standing in the corrupted patch of Salted Earth take an additional unexpected damage with a potency of 4k, and it binds them for 3 seconds. So, in theory, this is ridiculously strong, and I mean, in both Frontlines and Crystalline Conflict, you're going to find yourself slapping the Salted Earth down and then fighting within it, or at least trying to, because that HP restore, and more importantly, the 20% damage reduction is very strong. It's a form of CC in the fact that you pull people in when you execute it, and then if you immediately use Salt and Darkness right after, you're going to bind them for 3 seconds, so you can lock them into place just for a short amount of time. That's all in theory. In actual practice, it doesn't always work that way. I'm not going to lie, it seems like it's really iffy whether or not it's actually going to pull people in or not. I think it really just depends on your ping. If you, hey, get out of here, random bunny girl. But yeah, it really depends on your ping, but most of the time I find, especially in front lines, if I use this thing, I might pull 1, maybe 2 people in, even though I'm like surrounded by a horde of dudes. So I don't know, it's real touch and go there. But the effects of it are strong, but nobody in their right mind is going to stay inside of it. They're not going to let you fight inside of it because they don't want you taking 20% less damage, and they're not going to fight inside of it because they not only not want to take damage over time, but they don't want to get bound. Nobody wants to deal with that stuff. In theory, it's good. In practice, it's really hard. But if you can manage to execute it, especially in Crystalline Conflict with the smaller groups, ooh, it's sweet when you get that going. Alright, we have Quietus. Delivers an attack with a potency of 8,000 to all nearby enemies. 15-second cooldown. Additional effect, it absorbs 100% of the damage dealt as HP. So this is really good in team fights. You know, if you engage with Plunge, you let yourself take a little bit of damage and you pop off a Quietus. If you hit 5 people, I mean, it's absorbing 100% of damage dealt as HP. I don't know if it's per target or not, but it's still like, it's going to restore 8,000 HP to you, even if it's only on the one. So it's still really strong. It's really good. Alright, now let's get into the meat and potatoes here. The meat and potatoes here. Shadowbringer. Okay. Instacast. 1 second recast time, but it's got a 12,000 HP cost, okay? Deal unexpected damage with a potency of 6,000 to all enemies in a straight line before you. Consumes 20% of your maximum HP when executed. Grants Black Blood for 10 seconds. Cannot be executed when current HP is lower than 20%, so yes, don't worry, don't think you're gonna kill yourself by using Shadowbringer. You won't, in theory anyway. Soul Eater combo changes to Blood Spiller while under the effects of Black Blood. So obviously we get our super cool, awesome, edgy boy looking move, Blood Spiller. Delivers an attack with a potency of 6,000. Potency increases up to 12,000 as HP decreases, reaching its maximum value when HP fall below 25%. So the weaker you get, the stronger this gets. So these kind of work in synergy, right? You're going to be able to spam this a lot. You're going to do a lot of, you know, engage with Plunge, maybe blow down a Quietus, put Salted Earth down, Salt and Darkness, weaving in Shadowbringers, alright? And then as you're, Shadowbringers, Blood Spiller, Shadowbringers, Blood Spiller. Oh, my HP's really low, pop TBN, let off another Shadowbringer, really hard-hitting Blood Spiller, disengage. Start popping, recuperate, heal yourself. In a perfect world, anyway. In a perfect world. Shadowbringers, you're like gonna use it pretty much all the time. And then last but not least, of course, we have their limit break. Now this is probably one of the better limit breaks I've seen, especially on tanks. Delivers an attack with a potency of 10,000 to all enemies in a straight line before you and behind you. 30-yard radius. Potency increases up to 20,000 as HP nears maximum. HP is reduced to 1 upon execution. Grants Undead Redemption. Undead Redemption effect is most attacks cannot reduce your HP to less than 1, and you absorb 100% of your weapon skill damage dealt as HP for 10 seconds. Also grants Black Blood for 10 seconds. So you're also going to get Blood Spiller. Now, this is basically essentially Living Dead, right? You're going to restore HP, you're going to be able to deal damage, and you can't die. It's very similar to Living Dead / Holmgang in the fact that you can't be reduced to 1 HP, but it's kind of, if you use it wrong, the reducing yourself down to 1 HP can be bad if you don't, if you aren't prepared for it, but this thing can be so strong, especially the fact where if you use it at max health, you're going to deal 20,000 damage as opposed to 10,000 damage to everyone in front and behind you. It's wild. It's so good. It's so strong. If used correctly, you can change the tide of a team fight very quickly, very easily. So let's go over a quick demo of the abilities. So obviously, you got your 1, 2, 3 combo. Same as it is in PvE. Hasn't changed. We got Plunge. You can see you got Soul Survivor right here. Alright, you're just gonna do this. We're gonna blow a Quietus, kabam. You can see got 8,000 HP. Yeah, throw down Salted Earth. You can see it kind of sucks everything in when it does that. Salt Darkness. Boom, they're now bound. And then there's your Shadowbringers. Changed into Blood Spiller. Boom. You can see our HP's going down. Boom. You can see Blood Spiller's getting stronger. Boom. Bam. It's nice. Okay, so there you saw we got double heal from Quietus. So it's an 8,000 potency heal for each target that we hit. Very strong in a team fight. Ridiculously strong in a team fight. Get a little lag here. So there's going to be a lot of off global cooldown, weaving in here. A lot of blood spilling. I love it. But you also gotta be careful, right? You gotta make use of TBN. Of course, we can't see it actually do anything. And now here comes our limit break. Bam. So you can see here, right? Bam. Now we could be potentially killed. But that's 10 seconds of just not getting murdered. More or less. So there's the skill demo, you can see it's very fast paced. There is a lot of like off global cooldown weaving, a lot of doing stuff in between stuff. It can be very effective. You just gotta take the time to really like practice it and get it down right, and just pay attention to your health bar because you can get killed very easily. So normally at this point I would talk about how effective and how good they are in both frontlines and CC, but I've kind of already touched on that throughout the video, so I'll just do a quick rundown. So in frontlines, obviously, as a tank, and you're jumping in and you're doing your job to peel and get attention, you can do very well. You can also deal out a lot of damage in a very short amount of time for a tank and still walk out of it peachy keen and be able to recover and rinse and repeat. You can apply a lot of pressure, but it can also be very easy to get ganged up on, because a lot of people see DarkKnight and they just go, I don't want to deal with that, because no one in the frontlines can tell if you got your limit break or not, so nobody just wants to deal with the immunity, so they just try to kill you. It can be, but I mean, frontlines is frontlines. Definitely, like, pretty strong. Not the best, but pretty strong. In Crystalline Conflict, they're just as good as warriors. They don't have the CC, but they have the damage potential and just the ability to really turn the tide if you use your limit break properly and you time it well enough. Okay, you do lose out on the CC, the amount of stuns, the pull from Blota, etc. from not being a warrior, but honestly, I've had just as much luck casually playing as a DarkKnight than I have as I have for warrior. So I'd say they are relatively not neck and neck. Warriors a little bit higher, but like they're like this, right? They're butt to butt. So take from that what you will, guys. I definitely highly suggest you do some PvP on DarkKnight. It is fun, it is engaging, it is fast paced, and I think you'll enjoy it. And I mean, you get the benefits of being a tank, so you have a ton of HP. What's better than that, right? I mean, it's great. So that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more from my channel, if you want to get notifications when I go live every weekend for streams, please hit the subscribe button. It'll help support my channel, it'll help keep me motivated, and we are 1 subscriber away from hitting our goal of 10 subscribers before the end of the year, so I would very much appreciate it. And that's all I got. Look forward to the next video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.